I have seen Pele's glass when we were on the Big Island the first time.
Okay. Okay. Who doesn't recognize me?
I don't.
Oh, is that because I got my hair cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a little butchered there too.
Did you go Amish?
I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I should go Amish.
See, I got a
I need a
little one.
black hat
I
and
got
plaid
a little
gloves
one.
and get rid of what is it? Get rid of all technology and electricity. I don't know about that.
That'll never happen.
So, what do we got? It's 7 o'clock already.
No kidding.
Shall we get this little meeting in order? I shall start this. Let me start the recording.
Recording in progress.
And I'd like to welcome everybody to the December edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG. We are going to have our typical format tonight, which will be an open forum, and then we'll go into our topics that I've sent out in an email to everybody that we can pick and choose what we'd like to discuss and go over. So that being said, who'd like to open up the floor with the first question of the evening? Yeah, nobody's got a question. Oh, Bill's got a question. I like questions, Bill.
Yeah, this is one we've talked about before, but I guess I'm a little bit of a dummy. It's the business of getting rid of boxes for cable.
Cable boxes, yes.
Yeah, I tried a Fire Stick once on a box that would take it. That's not a smart TV, and I got the Fire Stick working, but I couldn't get like news channels and live TV on stuff that I wanted. Do I have to buy a service in order to do that? Which
Yeah.
kind of defeats the box.
Yeah.
Live? Go ahead, Tim.
Generally speaking, there's Philco. There's another one. I can't think of the gosh darn name right now, but they got a blue
TiVo.
and an orange plan.
TiVo.
Yeah. Well, no, TiVo's a third one. These are two that are normal subscription for people using like Roku or Fire Sticks, etc.
Orange and blue are Sling.
Orange and blues
There
and
you go.
yellow.
Sling.
Whatever. You can get one or the other or a combo, and each one, the blue and orange are $35 a month, 50 for a pair, and Philco I think is $25 or $30 a month.
And see, that doesn't do me any good because my wife won't do away with all of Comcast. So I'm just trying to do away with a box or two, which is only going to save me 10 or 20 bucks.
Yeah.
So if I have to turn around and subscribe to a service, I'm out of luck.
You're out of luck.
If you had the Roku stick, they have some channels that are now providing some areas with local news, etc.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like CNN and Fox and CNBC and those kind of channels.
A little bit of that, yes, but all of it, no, because most of it is subscription type stuff like the MSNBC and the CNN, I think, only carry through subscriptions. But the Fox, you can get Fox content, NBC, ABC on a Roku stick versus a Fire Stick.
But a smart TV by itself won't give me that.
Some smart TVs can give it to you, but it varies on the maker. If you get one of those that has Roku built into it, yes. If you don't have Roku built into it, your mileage may vary depending on what that manufacturer provides you to access.
Yeah, a smart TV will not include subscriptions unless they say so in the sales literature.
Yeah, and they generally don't. If a subscription's required, they give you access, but you have to sign up usually on your computer, and you give them a credit card to pay the monthly bill.
And Huey Popluck has done a presentation on smart TV and services. And
Right,
he has kindly posted a link to that in the chat.
Yeah.
yeah, I just did the presentation last Wednesday for the Sarasota group. And I cut the cable, gosh, 3-4 years ago now. But who was it that asked the question that and what's the service that you use for cable? I got Comcast right now. I think Comcast, I know Spectrum does, and I suspect most of them do. If you subscribe to their cable, a lot of times you can get some of their channels streamed just by signing in with your account. And most likely CNN and Fox News will do that.
They will give you, let me just throw that real quick to add on to
Sure.
that. Comcast just called me the other day and was telling me about their streaming app. That's I think it's $10 a month or something, although that doesn't help Bill. But that will give you all that local stuff that you're looking for and most of the cable stuff through an app. And that you can use on any of your devices. So you could get rid of 2 boxes and still pay $10 a month if you want to use their service. I didn't mean to stop you,
Yeah.
Huey.
Go ahead, Huey.
No, go ahead. That's I said basically what I wanted to.
Okay. Any other good advice you got for us?
Let's see. Oh, FUBO, F-U-B-O. Look into that service.
FUBO.
I don't know anything about it. I just Googled it real quick and it came up as a source. But that may also be a paid streaming service for some content, but maybe not. I don't know.
You see, I got one TV that I watch in the morning in bed, and I only watch 1 or 2 channels usually on that one. But the 2 others I can't change, and then I have one down here in the basement, but it's a smart TV. But I've tried to connect, and for some reason I couldn't connect it to Fire Stick, even after talking Comcast for a while. And I can't do it with the box there, so I'm limited. I want to buy one TV for the bedroom to make it smart, but I don't want to buy 2 TVs.
Bill, what phone are you using, Bill? What platform is your phone? Android or iOS?
Okay, I have one phone that is my phones are Apple.
Are Apple, okay. So a thought would be I think Comcast will give you, since you already have their service, they give you a portal to use their app anyways that you don't have to pay for. I was referring to the one that I would have to get because I am not a Comcast streaming subscriber. Okay. So, but because you would be able to get that probably for free. And if you owned or purchased a Apple TV, you can airdrop or send the information, pull it up on your phone, and send it right to your TV using an Apple device. And honestly, I would not buy a smart TV if I could. I would avoid it completely if I could, and just use something like that. I'm sorry, Huey?
I'm not sure whether you can even buy a TV. It's not a smart TV anymore. But if you have a smart TV, you don't need a Roku stick or a Fire Stick, because that's what the smart TV is. It's built into the TV. So you don't have to worry about that at all. And what you have to do is figure out how to install the various free and inexpensive and expensive services that you might like. My video shows you how to do that. And if you have a dumb TV, in other words, it's not a smart TV, as long as you have an HDMI port, then you get the Fire Stick for about $25, $30 and plug it in, and then it does the same thing. You just have to switch your inputs to it, your input to it, and then install whatever services you want. And there are some news services that you can get. Some of them are free, some you might have to subscribe to. And again, some might be free because you've got Comcast. Okay, I do stream live TV off of my iPad and off of my phone presently. So maybe if I had a smart TV, as Sanford was saying, I could just use that streaming app for free and use that. Does that sound right? Yeah, but you don't even need a smart TV. If you've got an HDMI port for about $25, $30, you can get one of the sticks. You can get a Roku stick, you can get a TiVo stick, you can get an Apple Plus stick. I got a Fire Stick. Well, if I got it working. I got it working okay, but I couldn't figure out how to get the channels that I wanted. You may not without having to pay for them unless Comcast will give them to you. And they may. You just have to get the app through your Fire Stick. You install it, and the app itself will be free. And then you sign in. It'll ask for your account or whatever your account is, your name, your email address, and password. And and I'm not sure, it may not do it that way. They might have some kind of a special code they give you, and then it'll say, okay, yeah, you're a customer of ours. You can use that service, and you can then stream various channels. How does that work if you don't have a smart TV, though? How do you sign? That's what the Fire Stick does. Okay. The Fire Stick makes it a smart TV.
Yeah, it does. You log into these channels using your ID from your Comcast service. Yeah, okay. I didn't figure out how to do that, but I only tried it for about an hour.
You don't have access to an antenna?
Excuse me?
You don't have access to an antenna for your TV?
I have an antenna in the attic.
Or you can get most of the Chicago basic channels. I mean, when you go through the thing, it'll give you about 60, but about 30 of them are really decent reception on. And that's
all I really want on that TV is CNBC and Fox and CNN, and that's about it. That's all I ever. Those are cable channels. They are cable channels.
Right.
Well, Fox is on channel 32 antenna in Chicago.
But that's not the Fox News channel.
That's correct.
It's
a different channel.
Yeah.
I'm so far away from Chicago that I did get the basic channels 9 and so on when I put it in when we didn't have cable here.
Mhm.
But I'm so far from Chicago, and I got trees right in front of me. So I don't know how good a picture I would get if I get a reception at all.
You also want to use a amplifier, TV signal amplifier.
Yeah.
And you can even double it up and put 2 of them on in line. I don't know about 3, but I know you could do 2.
Yeah, I know that.
Be careful about doubling up on amplifiers. 2 things can happen. One, you can end up amplifying noise. And the other thing that you can end up doing is overloading in terms of power. Overloading your system or your stick. Or your receiver, rather. That'd be the TV itself. But anyway, I just got a new TV, and in order to get anything that is one day going to be able to do 4K, for example, that's going to be a smart TV. And I chose the kind that has the least tie-in with specific sticks. And that is the most general. I already have a TiVo stream.
Well, I got a chance to get a 32-inch for nothing from a friend, but it's not a smart TV, so I'm not sure I'm gonna get it. I'm waiting to see if somebody else wants it first before I ask for it.
That TV would be ideal for just simply plugging something into the HDMI and you get to choose what you want.
We'll see what happens, thanks.
Okay, next question, new direction.
Just a final thought on that, do take a look at my video, and it's when you look at the text underneath it, it has timestamps all the way through it, so you can skip all of the Sarasota stuff and go right to the meat of the presentation.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. I pulled it up. I'll watch it later on. Can't wait. Okay, next question, new direction. Nobody's got computer problems. This is kind of good, you know. People, I don't know what people are doing with their computers these days, but how can we not have problems?
Right now it's the holidays, so they're doing little with it.
Pete, what's your issue?
Anybody have any experience with laser cutters?
Nope.
That's a yes or a no.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay,
You're on your own, Pete. They do good work when they work right. And the lasers are very expensive.
I
Unless
got
they
a 10 watt for like $300.
okay, so they've gone down a lot. They used to be
They've gone down a
thousands.
lot.
They used to be
If you wanna do
thousands.
1/4-inch wood, 1/2-inch wood and stuff like that, you're gonna need 60, 70, 100 watt, and it's gonna cost you thousands.
Okay.
But I'm looking at under 1/4-inch wood, I'm looking at under 3/16 plastic, and I'm looking at cardboard and some other stuff. Pure hobby. So I figured I could delve with it for 300. And I'm just wondering if anybody here in the group had any experience at all. That was a 0.
That's a 0. You're
Which is sort of what I expected.
you're a trailblazer here, Pete. Okay, so did anybody buy anything new?
Yeah, I followed Comcast's request to upgrade my router or my modem.
Okay,
I ordered a Motorola MB 8600 that was retail 189, on sale for 115 or 16. Ordered that, got that, plugged it in, didn't really have too much of a problem activating. It wouldn't activate on a computer, but I called Comcast number and got a tech. In about 10 minutes, she had the thing up and running. So,
and that's the right procedure, Harry. You actually do have to go through Comcast because
yeah,
they will IP address or get into it, and they actually set up all the protocols and everything from their end.
they say you can do it online, but it wouldn't connect online to do it. So,
Yeah.
the other thing was that my downloads, I have the 300 service, which they upgraded to 400 3 or 4 months ago, which would never come up with more than about 245 or 250. All of a sudden became 450.
So you went to a DOCSIS 3.1?
Yeah,
And they told you had to do it because you had a DOCSIS?
they've been sending me notices that as in March, that if I didn't upgrade to the new one, they would probably disconnect my service because I had the higher grade service. So that was probably an idle threat, but either way, it improved the download performance substantially and a cleaner signal. So
What are you paying for? How much? Bandwidth?
50 bucks a month.
No, I know, but are you paying for 400 megabits, or are you paying 200 megabits or a gigabit?
I was paying for 300 when I signed up for it. They upgraded it to 400 for no extra charge.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I've
upgraded
had
mine.
that for about 3 or 4 years now, and I've managed each year when it comes up for renewal, I have to get in and find somebody that considers themselves part of the loyalty group in Comcast, and then in a couple of minutes, I end up with the same rate for another year.
Wayne?
I upgraded my modem last year to a 3.1. I've got the Netgear. I got it through Costco. I've had the problems I've had with it though is my 5G keeps dropping off, or had been dropping off every once in a while. So I unplug the thing, plug it back in, and it comes back.
You know, I have that problem too every now and then at home where I found that I need to reboot my cable modem just because the 5G is not working quite right, whether it's the radio goes out or something.
I had a lot of problems with it, and then last week I was unplugging and plugging it back in, and all of a sudden it went back to default settings, and so I had to reset all. I had to go in and reset everything. So
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
By the way, let's be clear. We're talking about 5 gigahertz,
Right.
not 5G.
No, yeah, 5 gigahertz.
5G is a different concept.
Well,
But yeah,
I've
I found the same thing.
Yeah, I've got the fiber optics coming into my house, and I pay $90 a month, and I have a gigabit service. And with the fiber optics, you get this pretty much the same up as you do down. So I have very, very high up speeds, which is good because I do a lot of Zooms and a lot of videos and that sort of thing. So it works well. I don't always get a gigabit, but you know, you can run all the different tests, and I get all different results. And but if I run the service I use is called Frontier, and if I run there, it's always 800 down and 900 up. But if I run the Ookla or something like that, it may be only 400 or 500 either direction.
It might depend upon what time of day and how many people are on the same network you are.
Yeah, and what it connects to. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of variables when you're trying to test speed.
Yeah.
And a lot of those variables have to do with how many bounces it's taking, where it's going, what path it takes specifically. And this will vary from one speed test to another. So try a few different ones.
And on my side, the military is doing anything over the Pacific.
That'll do it.
Because they will grab that whole 3-inch diameter fiber cable and just suck it down.
We have similar problems in the East Coast.
Okay. You know, give me one moment. I'll go get something to show you guys.
I've got to grab a Pepsi.
While everybody's grabbing everything, I can say I was having a lot of issues, but finally, my new computer and my old computer are settling in with each other, and I'm figuring out which peripherals to connect to which one. And I did get a new silent keyboard for meetings.
Yeah. No more clickety clack.
No, but I prefer the one that goes clickety clack. It feels better.
So I did buy 2 things.
You probably get an app for that, Bob.
No, actually, it's the spring. It's the springs and the switches.
Oh, I mean, an app that will tell you clickety clack.
Oh yeah, that'll give you the auditory feedback, but I like the tactile feedback.
Okay.
Okay, this is one of the items that I bought. Oh, you can't read the type here because it's got to be, let me see, mirror, don't mirror. There you go. Okay, so this is for my Apple Watch.
Watch power pack, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's a 4,000 milliamp little power pack. It's this big, kind of a little thick. You know, it's just like a USB power charging pack, and you can charge directly from a cable to any devices. But specifically, it has, let me see, you can see this little flat area here. That is the size perfect to go for an Apple Watch, as you can see on my wrist.
Yeah.
And the problem I've had is when I'm traveling, Sometimes I don't have the proper opportunity, or I am doing something and it depletes the battery in my watch. And that's not a cable that I carry around a lot. I don't carry the Apple Watch charging cable in my pocket or something. So, but this I can keep with me to charge up my watch, but it will also charge my iPhone. So it has a double purpose here. And because it had that double purpose, I thought I'd buy this one, and it was pretty cheap. I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head. It was a Prime Day, or I'm sorry, it was a Black Friday type deal. So I don't remember the price, but this is one of the things that I bought. And the other thing that I got, I haven't even opened this box yet. And Bill might be very acquainted with something like this. We talked about this before. This is a backing up charging brick that is for Apple. You basically plug the USB port into your power source, I guess, or another charger, and you put your cable to your phone hooked up to this thing and put a micro SD card in here. And while your phone is charging, it will back up your phone. So that's what that is. I have yet to open it, and I have yet to use it yet.
That means you'd have to connect using a cable that can carry data.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Definitely.
so you have to be careful where you plug that in.
Right. Well, you have to be careful.
Otherwise, you may not be the only one backing up your data.
Yeah, I think, I didn't read all the fine details on this thing. I think this is the charging block too. So, but anyways, I'll figure all that out. I have yet to even open up the box yet to try it out.
Well, I may be wrong,
We'll see.
but lightning cables, which is what I think you're using, I think are complete cables, unlike Android, where you have charging only cables and data charging cables. And that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, there are two different types for Android. Lightning does tend to be two-way.
Right. And I've not had an issue with the Lightning in that respect, but I haven't tried this device out. I don't know if it's going to work well or not. It's an Amazon thing. I don't like it. Hey, free returns. Okay. So those are the products we got out there. Anybody else buy anything new? Pete is going to be buying a laser cutter.
No, I've got it.
You got it. Which one did you buy, Pete?
The Tomgrow X1 10 watt.
10. You want put a link in the notes here so we can all see what you're talking about. That means you got to Google it and find it.
Have you used it at all yet, Pete, or no?
I've got it hooked up to one of my other machines. I've got the software running. I know it runs. I'm going through the software program that actually creates the G code for it is different than what I'm used to, because the path is different. So I'm taking the hard point and I'm doing the right thing and going through the tutorials.
We never read instructions, do we?
What?
We never read instructions. We're guys.
What the hell is that?
RTFM.
Yeah. Quickest way to kill yourself.
Are you still looking for it, Pete?
Just a second. I went back to Amazon. I'm going to get the Amazon link to it.
I have another question sometime.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be right now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
Well, my nephew got a $900 computer for his college classes and got down to school and he spilled water on it.
Oh.
Now, I haven't got it yet. And I didn't know this when it happened. My daughter told him to turn it off, of course, but she didn't tell him to take the battery out. So I don't know if it's dead in the water. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do anything other than pull the hard drive out. But just curious if anybody's got any ideas.
First thing was a laptop, you said?
It's a laptop.
Okay, and where is the place you bought it from take returns? Can you send it back to them, like Costco or something?
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know where she got it. She got it
Okay.
online somewhere.
All right, I thought maybe you were involved with that or
No, I wasn't involved with it.
Okay, that would be an option, is to see where
Yeah.
it came from and see if they have any warranty that's still available on it. If it's not working, it may still be covered by a warranty. Don't tell them about spilling water on it, but they'll find out.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's only had it since the end of summer.
Okay,
I thought about taking it to Best Buy.
Yeah, that actually might work in such cases, but this is the one case that I would make for actually buying an extended warranty,
Yeah, I know.
because that would have covered this.
right.
Really?
Yeah, that would have
And
covered
you
it.
know with a laptop, it's going to happen.
And he may say it's water. It could have been beer. It could.
No, he doesn't drink. I know he doesn't drink.
Okay, but
Extended warranties don't care. They don't even care if you dropped it.
It could also be his roommate had beer and spilt it on it.
Who
So,
cares?
I don't think his roommate drinks either. They've been friends since grade school.
all right.
Yeah, it'll probably be the same cost no matter what the cause.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a $900 computer and I spend a couple $100 on it, I don't care.
But there's also a possibility, Bill, that nothing has happened to it. If you turned it off relatively soon after that happened and not tried to use it, it probably should have dried out by now. If it hadn't, those dry silica packs that you get when you get clothing?
Yeah.
Those are the perfect substance to use to remove moisture out of anything. Better than the fallacy of using rice. So I would have taken the laptop, I would have put it in some type of sealed Ziploc bag and put a bunch of those silica packets in there, and they would have sucked the moisture out of it. That's also an option that still could be done if you think there might be moisture in there. Make sure he takes it and shakes it.
I wasn't involved when it happened, so I couldn't give him any advice.
Okay. All right. Well, this would be future note for anybody. Maybe anyone else got any ideas what to do if you spill water on your laptop?
Well, I've read and also heard on one of the Zoom conferences, don't do the rice idea, especially for like smartphones. It just screws them up, and it doesn't do what it's advertised to do. Your idea with the Silica Packets is a lot better idea than playing with the rice.
Yeah, and if you can't get a hold of those silica packets, you can go to a hardware store. You can go to Walmart or Target or wherever and buy the product out there called Damp Rid, which is basically the exact same thing. That Damp Rid, you could buy it in the granules and just pour it across the keyboard, and that will help pull the moisture up out of it. And then you just sorry?
You don't want to just pour it in a sock.
Okay, well, it depends. If they're big granules like balls, like BBs, then you could pour those across the top of it. If they're like the silica packets are, they won't go in anything. But I hear Pete, I hear your reservations because a lot of the crystalline stuff will have fine powder that can fall into the key crevices and create a problem.
I get silicone packets in all my medicines, so I'll just start saving them.
I would definitely start saving those things. I found them to be very handy. They're a good thing to keep in your car. Actually store in your car in different places because they absorb the moisture in your vehicle. So like down on the floors where moisture starts accumulating, especially in the winter or rainy days or something like that, that will help cut down the moisture. The silicone packets, hey, we're throwing them away. You might as well get a second use out of them.
Yep, I agree.
And if you need to buy any, you can get them in bulk at Amazon, various other places.
Yep, you can. You could also go to, when I go through Costco and they're unpacking clothing,
Yeah.
their clothing there often comes in big bags with silica packets in there. And all you got to do is ask for a clerk to hand them to you because they're throwing them away. And the store does not care at all how many you walk out the door with. I've had them in my shopping cart, just lay it all over inside there, and they totally ignore them
I
completely.
was there today, darn it.
That's a good idea.
But you almost got to be by where the clothing is or shoes or something that comes in packaged, and that's where they have them. You could even look through some of the stuff there. I bought a down coat just today, and inside the pockets was a silica packet in there. Keep that. So if you have a camper, good thing to throw in there too.
They had that for boats, for a marina.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the marine stores, they had them in big packs because for winterization during the winter, we put that in the boat to keep things dry.
On Amazon, 100 packets, 2-gram silica gel packs for $7.41.
Ain't bad.
Such a deal.
Especially when you're playing with any kind of electronics.
Yep.
I use them in all my little bottles for all my fine screws.
There's an old adage about computers and food, which includes the liquids. The two don't mix.
You do not mix. No.
I'll let you know what happens in a month.
Okay, when you see it in a month, give it. And again, it might work just fine.
There's
It
an outside
depends.
chance.
Water can hurt, but water is also used in the manufacturing of a PC printed circuit board. So the death of it would be any electrical circuit that would have been running at the time.
Yeah, I was worried about leaving the battery in and shorting something out.
Yeah, but since it sounds like a modern computer, the vast majority of them, the battery's inside. That means you have to take it apart to get the battery out.
Yeah.
Do you think your nephew is capable of properly taking it apart to take the battery?
He and I did that once, but I don't know if he remembers.
Okay.
If you do have to go to a technician, try to find an independent store, a small store. You'd be helping local businesses, and also they may be able to address the problem more specifically and very often more economically.
Okay.
How long ago did this happen, Bill?
Well, he's got a new computer now, $800 or something. It's been probably a month.
Good chance it's already dried out by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending upon where he stored it.
Well, he stored it in his dorm room.
Yeah, but see, we're getting into the colder months. The heat's on. That dries out the inside air dramatically.
Yeah.
So the stuff will dry out faster than, say, in the summer months.
Yeah, well, when he brings it home at Christmas, if he doesn't forget it, I'll get into it.
Okay. I would take it, shake it around, see if you see anything coming out of it. If not, don't bother taking it apart. Power it up and see what happens.
Oh yeah, I'll try.
It's been long enough now that it should be gone and evaporate out. And it may just work just fine and give them years and years and years of service. Or it may die by next week. Who knows?
or 1 week after he gets it back.
Right. Okay, Pete, did you find this? Oh, you did find. There you go. Smile, Amazon? Send us Amazon Smile. Amazon Smile.
You
I
know,
use it all the
you got
time.
the icon upside down.
Okay.
That gives a donation to a favorite charity of yours.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the laser, 10 watt.
And it was on sale for the three,
What'd you get it for?
just under 300.
Under
Wow.
300. Wow, that's a significant discount.
It
What
was
are you doing with it?
was the Black Friday sale.
Has anyone been noticing Amazon's prices going up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like last week, they jumped. Some of the things were going up in prices. As we're getting closer and closer to Christmas, they start raising their prices.
So does shipping too.
Well, yeah.
Well, prices in general have been going up.
Yeah.
And
Pound
on
of
this
bacon
sort
is
of
now $8.
on this sort of stuff, which is kind of high end, you're going to see larger increases.
So what software do you have to use for this? SolidWorks?
No, it's the converter is Lightbridge. I think it's Lightbridge. With
Okay. Isn't that an Adobe product?
Lightburn.
Oh, Lightburn. I see. Lightburn Beginner's Guide. Is that now? This is a Chinese-made product. So
Yes, I understand. I'm not.
are you using Chinese software or American software?
No. The software's done in the States here.
Okay. All right. This looks pretty good. I don't know. Do you have to wear glasses when you walk in this? When you
See
wear
that little
this?
red thing underneath there?
Yeah.
Unless you got something reflective underneath it, you're okay.
Okay.
Because it's not bouncing out of there. But you do need to get it into ventilation. Because you're burning, so it's going to smoke. I'm currently building a cart or designing a cart so that I can roll it out on the patio. Because I know it's going to smoke and it will set off my smoke alarms here.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing with it?
Playing.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what's your intention to do?
The intent is to do stuff like coasters and parts for the model railroad, and so that's why playing is the operative word.
So you're going to sell stuff? Well, of course.
I don't know. First,
Okay,
I got to get good to sell.
so it says it'll do acrylic, metal, wood, stainless steel.
It will, if you got the round adapter, which I don't have, it will burn through the paint coatings on metals.
Yeah,
it will not burn through metal.
It
You
says
gotta
it
go way
engraved.
above 60 watt to do that.
Yeah, it says it'll engrave or etch metal.
Yes, but it basically only engraves or etches the paint that's on it for the most part.
So it won't do any real relief.
No, you're looking at 5,000s, 10,000s, maybe going into it. This is basically a low power one, or a mid low power one. You've got to start adding zeros to my 300 to get in the 60 watt range.
Right.
And I wasn't going to go there.
No, it looks like you can do a lot of stuff with this one as it stands.
Yeah. I anticipate by next month we'll see something.
We will.
There's some pretty cool stuff people have done with it.
Yeah. Okay. I like that thing. All right. Anybody else buy anything new? No. Hey, Terry, nice to see you. Hi, Terry. Well, Terry doesn't hear us. So anyways, anybody else got any last minute questions, problems that we need to go over? If not, we can go right into our topics for the evening. And I sent out, let me just make a copy here and post this. Actually, I think it might be better if I did it this way. I'll post this in the group. There you go, in case anybody needs it. Oh, cannot be sent because it's currently in use. I gotta close it. All right, now I'll try this again. All right. There we go. Did everybody see this pop in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. All right, there's the
That's the
document.
email.
And it was the same one that's in the email, in case
Okay.
you need to see it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the email.
And who'd like to bring up the first topic that we're going to go over tonight?
I will mention, especially the first 5 or 6 in the list are courtesy of Huey Poplock's CFCS Windows SIG meeting that was on Sunday. And there's a lot of people, Bert was one of them, that doesn't like having OneDrive constantly shuffle off his documents out to the cloud, etc. And so I thought of him right off the bat, besides myself. And it's something that a lot of people worry about privacy issues. And so the end result is there are ways of temporarily disabling it and or taking and permanently disabling it, and even going as far as uninstalling OneCloud. Though I'm not sure I would recommend that, because a lot of their features that are built into Windows, they tend to rely upon one another. We still got IE 11 out there because there are features within Windows that are still reliant upon modules out of the IE 11. And until they divorce from that and do some other way of supporting the other features without IE 11, they can't remove it.
Yeah, one of the first things I usually do after setting up my accounts to be local instead of tied to my Microsoft account is I disentangle, as in if you had quantum entanglement of your files with OneDrive. Well, I disentangle my local files from OneDrive, and then I'll usually suspend it. If I want it again, it's there.
When I'm using like Excel, I turn off the saving thing so it doesn't save it, because otherwise it's constantly saving it out to OneDrive. And I actually save my file to my PC instead of letting it go out to OneDrive.
Yeah, that's the thing that can be separated You can separate things out, disentangle everything from OneDrive by, first of all, setting up your account to be local, and second, setting up Excel to save locally. Those are two separate operations.
Yeah, and if you already have 10 or 11 saving stuff out to the cloud and you disconnect from it, you either stop the syncing or you turn off one cloud. Before you turn it off, make certain you copy down all the files that it put out there to your local drive first, then shut it off. But you can turn off the syncing in advance. Do not delete anything from one cloud until you've got it all disconnected and your files that you want locally downloaded to your system, or you're going to be crying in your beer because things may go awry and you lose files.
If you delete something on OneDrive, you delete it everywhere where OneDrive can touch it.
That's right. But if the syncing is turned off first, it shouldn't be able to touch it locally.
The safe way is to actually save it to a portable drive off the machine.
Yeah. It depends on
Especially
your
important
resources.
stuff. What?
It depends upon your resources and how many files are out there that you gotta try and move locally from the one cloud. I used to use one cloud lightly, but now all of a sudden I got garbage out there out the wazoo, and I usually can't find it locally. And surprise, there it is in one cloud.
Are you saying OneDrive dumps everything to one cloud without being told to?
Yep.
Yep.
Especially in 11, and it's starting to be a feature also in 10. If it isn't already turned on, it will turn on, and it's you may find that you go make a file. Let's say whether it's Word or LibreOffice, a WordPad, Notepad, and then go try and find it. You might find that it's out on the one cloud and not in your local documents directory.
When you're saying one cloud, are you really meaning OneDrive?
Yeah, I call it sometimes
Oh,
one cloud.
okay, all right.
Other time,
Hey,
that
that's
was
what I
its
was trying to-
original name, and I keep forgetting they switched it.
Bert?
Well, I mentioned last week that I got a new computer and it's a Windows 11 machine. And when I booted it up, it started to, what it did is it looked at my system that it was already out there, my other computer, and looked at the desktop where I had a couple of shortcuts to point to files on that were not in OneDrive, but were on my hard drive. And when it upgraded, it took the files that were referenced in the shortcuts over to the new machine in OneDrive, which caused a lot of confusion on my end because it didn't keep them in the folders. It just put a whole bunch of files mixed up together. What I did see in Windows 11 is there's no C desktop anymore. That what it did is it transferred the libraries up to the OneDrive system, and normally you would put a folder on your desktop, but really those are not anywhere but in the OneDrive now. So effectively your desktop is gone, and you have to organize OneDrive to be the same libraries if you're used to using that, and everything will be pointed to there. Now you could go back to the C drive and make some folders there as well, but it really doesn't, most of the systems are looking for automatic backup because OneDrive does that. It's looking for all your data to point to the cloud, to OneDrive. And it's changed kind of the platform when we got to Windows 11, which surprised me, but that's what it is. Anybody else had experience with Windows 11 on that?
Well, Bert, what I have experience with in Windows 11 is from the very beginning, I set things up without my Microsoft account so that my installation did not know about my Microsoft account at all. It's a local installation, a local administrator, and a local user. And that keeps everything on the C drive.
Of course, they said that many of the features don't work if you don't have a Microsoft account. And
Yeah.
local accounts don't let you do several things.
The things that don't work are exactly what you said, that everything goes to one cloud, that it syncs, and that sort of thing. Yeah, you won't have these features, but I know this going in. And if I want those features, I can create them later.
When we talk about syncing, sometimes that's confusing because it's talking about syncing to other computers in your group that you may have. So it's not just syncing locally in one machine, it's syncing to other devices as well.
Yes, they tried to.
On the same network either.
Yeah,
Because
they tried
any
to.
place you're signed in with that username is worth syncing.
Right. They try to federate all devices registered to you, all devices that are registered to your Microsoft account. Try to federate all of that into one.
What time is your appointment Thursday?
Okay, I think we have Terry able to communicate with us. Now can he
Terry's
mute?
communicating, but Terry needs to be muted. I'll mute him.
Thank you.
Let
Okay.
me also talk about something else. Because I have 6 Microsoft email accounts, I found that in Windows 11, it's a little confusing as well. And I probably have 4 different types of Outlook because they keep changing it. You have the Windows Mail, which is one way, and that had all my accounts in there fine, just like it did in Windows 10. I have a version of Microsoft Office, Microsoft 365, and that still has the old Outlook program. But I think it's going to try and push it to what they're trying to do when they talk about one Outlook is they're trying to put it all in a browser. So I have my email account I can get to in the browser, but you can only get to one account at a time. So basically, you can have multiple browser copies for each email account, but you don't get them together, and therefore you can't easily drag from one to the other as you could in the other programs. So that was a surprise as well. Other than that, it seems like, it's mostly Windows 10, except for the graphic part, where instead of the start button and column being on the left, you've got the box that comes up in the middle, and you can add icons to that for all your apps that you need. And you have to know that in the box in the middle, when pressing the Windows key at the bottom right, you have the shutdown button like you did before, but that's where they're hiding it.
Okay, there is a single setting which I used to shift all of that back to the left. You
There's
don't need
plenty
anything
ways
third-party.
to customize it and third-party programs to do that as well. But this is what it does, and this is what Windows 11 is in the basic vanilla way that people would see it.
Yeah, but I think probably, I don't have statistics, but probably the majority who come to Windows 11 from Windows 10 are going to move everything to the left.
No, they're not, because the majority of people are just vanilla users. And on the left right now, they have the box that does the news and weather kind of stuff.
I got rid of that.
I understand you can, but that's not what the normal system is.
Well, I don't think normal users want to be interrupted by all that stuff and all the notifications. It's just they let Microsoft run roughshod over them.
They get a new machine with Windows 10. That's what they use.
Windows 11.
Windows 11.
Yeah, Windows
That's
11.
what
Yeah,
they use.
yeah, but the thing is, then they go online all over the place and start cutting down Windows 11 and saying it's junk and saying it's no good and they don't like it. And they
Well,
convince
that's
other
what
people
you hear,
not to
but
upgrade.
those people don't hear that. And those people don't want to customize it. They just want it to work.
Yeah, they want to complain about it. They don't want to change it.
And they
People
don't
complained
necessarily
when
like
Windows
change.
11 came out. The majority of people complained about the interface. They didn't like the fact that they had the start button was moved. Well, so what? It still is the same start button. You just got to point to a different spot. This is in our world of technical people, we complain about every little thing and want it customized our own way. And of course, you can do that in Linux, but not easily. In this case, most people buy a machine, turn it on, and that's what they use. Now, sometime later,
Yeah.
they may, read something that says, gee, I got this extra control I can put. In my case, for instance, on the taskbar, it doesn't matter if it's in the middle, it's already filled up end to end. So it's no
Yeah.
different.
Well, anyway, for some of us, it does make a difference. And there is an argument about ergonomics, which I won't go into in detail. But for me and many others who are, let us say, power users, there really is a palpable difference with just these small tweaks that can be done with single settings.
Well, I've just tried to explain how Windows 11 works.
Okay.
And then you can explain how you can stop it from doing those things. But in the meantime, people need to know what to expect when they get a machine or they upgrade. That's what I have to say.
You're saying this is the out-of-the-box experience.
That's what people need to know.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question. Bert, you hit on something that was kind of a little disturbing, if you will, to me. And you had said when you make a folder on your desktop and you populate it with files, that is not being saved locally, it's being saved up in OneDrive. Is that correct?
Correct.
So,
the only way you could do it is if you go to your C drive, make a folder there, and then you could
put a
make
short.
a shortcut to it from your on your desktop. But
Okay,
that's
so
not things normally are going in Windows 11.
Here's my dilemma on this is what, and I don't understand Microsoft's total thinking on this, is in the wonderful world that you're always connected to the internet, that works great.
Yeah,
But when you're using a laptop, you use a laptop because it's portable. And often or not, you may take it to places where internet is not available.
Mm-hmm.
So my point that I'm trying to drive towards is if you're going through the paces of putting folders on your desktop and populating them, and then you move to a place where you no longer have internet, those data files are not available to you. And Microsoft is A-okay with that?
That's the system. Now, of course, you can have like I have a micro card with is a hard drive, so to speak, and that's still there, and I could work off of that if I want.
Okay, all right.
What about disconnect from the internet when you set it up though?
Oh, in other words, make the
What you
file.
mean.
If you put the file folder on your desktop, you make the folder on your desktop, you're not connected to the internet, you populate it, then what happens to the data? I think it still gets uploaded.
It gets synced. I think it gets synced. I think the desktop is synced rather than totally on the web with no connection.
Yep. If you set up a folder in this default way of setting things up, it will sync the next time you connect to the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's going to move everything from locally to OneDrive?
Yep.
No,
it will treat your desktop folder as a shortcut to OneDrive.
Is there a limitation on storage space in OneDrive?
Yep.
How much?
How much is?
5 or 7 gigabytes.
Okay, so let's say you exceed that 5 or 7 gigabytes, now what?
Well,
It
for
saves-
instance, in Office, you get a terabyte.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but let's just say the 5 or 7, besides a terabyte, 5 or 7, you exceed it, then what?
Hit
I
the
mean,
wall, you
saves
have to
it
buy
out.
more.
You
It
have to
saves it
buy
on your
more,
local
but
drive.
what's happening with your data that you put on the folders that are exceeding 5 gigs?
That gets stored on your local drive until Microsoft convinces you to buy more OneDrive space. Then
Okay,
it goes back up.
And
and
if,
does Microsoft tell us as a consumer that they shifted or changed on how they operate to let you
No.
know that when you are doing your stuff on your local desktop, that is actually being synced all the time? And
No,
being
there's no
monitored.
warning. There's no
All
warning.
right, just keep in mind that your computer probably doesn't work if you're not connected to the cloud.
Yeah, it does.
And not in Windows 11.
Not in Windows 11. So Windows 11 must be hooked up to the cloud 24/7?
Well,
No,
see, everything syncs through the cloud. So if it's all of your apps, all of your stuff from the Microsoft Store, all of your updates, all that stuff is all through the cloud.
Bert, that's not true. I have apps from the store that do not need to connect to the cloud.
Well, fine, good for you.
if you right mouse click a folder or files, one of the choices when you right click is always keep on this device. So you can pick and choose what you want to save on your hard drive. And it can be in both, or it can be just on your hard drive, or it can be just in the cloud. And when you click on it in the cloud, it downloads it for you to use locally.
Like I said, if you want to create folders on the C drive, you can, and you could sort of simulate what Windows 10 had in that way. You could do it on an external hard drive or a micro drive. But the bottom line is, by default, it's wants to do everything in the cloud as much as possible.
What a screwy ass system.
They want
got a
to.
question. Got a question.
Okay.
They're coming in now with a flash, a solid state drive with a 0.5 terabyte now, and possibly even greater than that. Is my normal modus operandi is I get that big drive and I immediately partition it at least in half and make it a data drive. And I typically put most of my files in that data drive, and that data drive does not get synced with OneDrive. That's my long-term storage for stuff that I don't need to see over at the shop. So is that still true?
And
in 11?
so that's why I have a micro card in the computer. Then that's my data storage.
Well, see, you don't need the micro card because you're never, if you're syncing everything on the C drive and you don't have a 0.5 terabyte of data on the cloud.
Well, but my data on my micro card is 4 terabytes.
Okay. And you're not syncing that.
No, I'll sync that to a backup drive, but I don't sync that. It's not part of the cloud.
So you can still put a partition on the base drive that they put in the machine, or on an additional drive inside the machine to actually store stuff like video and stuff like that you don't really need to have on the cloud. You just put the files that you're running live in the C drive.
So in my system, my machine, the C drive is only 250 gig. So therefore, I don't want to partition it because Windows probably takes half of that up, and you want to have extra space there. So it depends on your system.
Yeah. But you can still do that. You can still have files on the machine that are not connected to the OneDrive.
Is a different partition.
Yes.
The
And
fact of the matter is, if you're willing to work at it, you can set Windows 11 up to do things much the way Windows 10 did them. But Bert is correct. The vast majority of users don't even know what a partition is. They don't care. They aren't going to set one up.
You're
They're not
right.
going to do anything like that.
Right.
They would rather just let it sync, let it upload,
So I've got
and buy
another
the extra
question.
storage that they need in the cloud.
I have another question regarding 11 now. A single machine, 10 users.
10
10
logins?
What?
10 logins?
10 separate, I've got possibly up to 70 logins.
Okay.
Are those all separated? None of those are Windows accounts.
Each user has his own independent folder within the user's folder of the Windows C drive. Everything else on the C drive, think of it as community property that all users are using.
But a Windows OneDrive is not created for every user if they don't have a Windows account.
Correct. But also,
Yeah, you would have to create a new OneDrive account, and by default, Windows 11 asks you to do that every time you add a user.
Now,
It asks, what is their email address?
By the way, while you guys have been discussing all this fun, a real can of worms, I did a little search because I remembered something from way back. I stuck in the search Win11: can you select what files or folders to OneDrive? And yes, you can, because I've got a bunch of articles here, including from Microsoft, how to choose and select what folders and files can be synced up to OneDrive. But if you want 0, you uncheck everything. Basically, you're turning off the sync function as a whole.
Can you put that link in the chat?
That's not a link. That's a search value. It gives you all kinds of articles here.
Well, a lot of that was for Windows 10.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
But it's changed.
I remembered that. Well, it's also in 11 because I searched.
Yeah, it's in 11 as well. Yes.
What I'm saying is that the defaults are what I didn't expect.
I understand
people need to know about.
I understand that, and I knew that up front because I am on 11 and have been as an insider. But bottom line is, you do have control not only of the 2 how-to articles to turn off syncing or disable OneDrive altogether or uninstall it altogether. There's the option of going into the syncing function and saying, this is what I want to sync, and everything else will not sync.
Well, I think what you're talking about is when you pick a folder to be downloaded into the hard drive, in addition to being in the cloud.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you made that clear.
That's the syncing function of the OneDrive that's working on 11 and is working on some Windows 10s.
But that's because everything that's in the cloud, you can pick and choose which thing, because it actually does stay in your hard drive under the user's account. There's a place where that file is actually copied back down.
Huey?
But that doesn't mean it's not in the cloud.
Okay. Huey?
Yeah, I have a 4 terabyte SSD card in my computer as a C drive. I have not partitioned it. I have some folders. I have a Zoom folder where I keep a lot of Zoom recordings and so on. It's 143 gigabytes. I do not have that in the cloud. I can specify I don't want it to sync to the cloud. So that folder is not there, where I have most of my other document folders, because that is in my documents folder. Most of them are synced. And the reason I sync them is because I can open up my Chromebook and sign into my OneDrive and download any of the files that are out there. So it's a backup service as well as a syncing service. And you can specify either by file or by folder whether you want it just on your hard drive, whether you want it on both, or whether you want it stored on your OneDrive, and if you want to open it or anything, it'll download it, and then you can use it locally.
But by default, it puts everything in Windows 11, starting in the cloud, in the OneDrive.
That's correct, because they're trying to make it so you're reliant on the cloud, so no matter what computer you're using, you can get to that data.
And it backs it up.
Well, OneDrive by default, like most cloud services, Microsoft guarantees that everything up there is backed up. If anything happens to their server, they can recover, usually, your files, and you can download your files at any time and save them to your local machine. Yes, the defaults have changed, and the question always is, do people realize this when they're buying a new PC that has Windows 11 and they used to use Windows 10 that worked differently? And at what point do they realize that all this is going on? Here's where they realize it: when they're asked to pay for more storage. And then they feel they're over a barrel. They don't know how to get out of that trap.
Or they're not online and they can't get to the file they want.
That also is a problem people run into.
Yeah.
And they don't expect it. They think it's local, but it's not.
Okay, we need to kind of move on. Tim, thank you very much for bringing up. These were some last minute additions that Tim threw at me before I sent out the email with our topics. You can read further on the steps that are listed in there if you care to remove or disable the OneDrive syncing process. In our topics, I had other topics listed. Is there other things that people would like us to discuss tonight? Yes, Wayne.
The one about you're getting a new PC, and what are the 5 helpful ways to prepare for it?
I think this OneDrive thing. Okay.
It's near
let's
the
see.
bottom, about 6 up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Getting things in order. Okay, there you go. Open link. Hate these little pop-up things that keep coming up. Okay, 5 helpful ways to prepare for it. One is empty your pocketbook. Make sure your credit card has got enough room for it.
Yeah.
2, remove all spillable items like water
Right.
away from the PC.
Yeah, don't take it in your swimming pool.
Don't take it in the hot tub. Okay, keep your kids and dogs away from it. Okay, with their slimy little, or grandkids in our cases. So let's see, back up your current computer. Okay, so that's a quagmire these days, is backing up your computer, because you can't do it for free very effectively. You could use the Microsoft backup function, but it sucks. Also, consider imaging your current PC drives to have them on hand in case you need them later. All right, but I don't understand what this has to do with a new PC.
Well, take inventory is the next major there.
There you go.
Right, take inventory of your apps that you currently have installed on your machine. And I guess you got to determine which ones you're going to need for future. for the future machine?
I'd like to put in a plug at this point for a
Okay,
product,
what are you selling?
a free product called Sumo, Sumo, by KC Softwares. And it isn't just a program to show you what can be updated on your computer. It lists in gory detail everything that's on your computer, and you can pop over another column that shows where it is on your computer. And you can export it to an Excel spreadsheet.
Spell that again. Did you say
Sumo, and you've got to make sure you're saying KC Softwares.
and not sumo wrestling?
Right, because we want Sumo. And what that allows you to do is it starts as a CSV, but you can easily take it into Excel, and it becomes a spreadsheet of what's on your computer and where it's at and what versions it is.
KCCASEY, or the letters?
KC, the letters, K, Kappa, C, Charlie, Softwares.
Bellark will give you pretty much a similar thing.
Yeah, Bellark will, yeah.
Yeah, Bellark will give you all that.
Does it export into a nice spreadsheet?
I think Sumo does a little more than Bellark.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sumo does a very good job in my experience of catching every instance of everything. Now, you're not going to need to know every instance, but you might need that one instance that isn't shown in Bellark. And
Do
of
any
course,
of you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
go.
Do
I was
any
just
of
going.
you-
I was just going to say, keep your license keys. Now, Huey.
Yeah, do any of you use a password manager?
Yes.
What I do is I use my password manager to keep track of all of my keys for the software. So if I need to find them, I can do so on whatever machine that I want to, because I can run my password manager on anything I own. And so just having a list of the different software that you want to use, you can go and get your key and should have it handy.
Yeah, either an organized file or a password
Yep.
manager. Sounds good.
Well, a lot of the password managers, like my LastPass, you have secure notes, which are encrypted, just like your online accounts, bank cards, etc., etc. And I have several different note files, and one of them is all my computers, the administrator login, any account logins with PIN numbers and passwords, etc., etc. And I don't think all of them are in there because I started this after I had lots of computers, but the majority of them are in there. And you have to get into that by putting in your passphrase a second time. So you have to put in the passphrase to activate the account. Then you have to, if you want to go into the notes, you have to put in the password again, just in case somebody else is around where your computer is and you get step away from the computer. They can't get in and look at some of that information that's secured without that master password phrase.
Okay.
All right, so I'm kind of confused in some of the things they're talking about here. They're talking about creating a prepare Windows 10 installation media. We're talking about buying a computer. Why would I need to do this?
So they're saying they're gonna downgrade it from 11 to 10.
Oh, okay.
Right down there on the bottom.
Okay, so therefore, somebody buys a Windows 11 machine, they want to downgrade right away to 10. I guess that's because you decided in advance you don't want 11, like some people may say.
Yes.
Okay.
Either way, if you want to stay on 11, you can create a backup media to a thumb drive. and you should do that even on a new machine.
Yeah. And that will have your emergency key in there, will it not?
I believe so.
Okay. So let's see. After your new PC arrives, that's it?
Looks like it.
Looks like it. Okay. It says after your new PC arrives, this, okay, this was not a great article.
Yeah, it says don't spill water on it.
Yeah.
Maybe I misunderstood this one. Got a new PC coming. Here's 5 helpful ways to prepare for it. Okay.
Let me throw something in here, if that's all right. When I, basically when you start the machine, the setup right from the Microsoft Windows 11 part, I made sure that I did not have my external drive in at the time. Yeah, I had backed everything up, but at the same time, I didn't want to confuse the C drive setup with anything that had my data on it on the external card. So that's a positive thing to keep in mind when you're setting up your new machine. One more thing to throw in about Windows 11 has to do with your cloud speed. So I had tons of information in OneDrive, OneNote. OneNote is a program that I've used and I store tech information in every day. And when I went to sync it over, it not only takes a long time, but my files wound up being bigger than 2 gigabytes rather. And so it wouldn't copy them over. I then had to go back and break them up to try and get them to sync over, which eventually it did, but took a long time. So that means that when you're working on the cloud, if you're dealing with big files, you have to be prepared for the time it takes to get the file to download in.
All right, that I could see. You said you had a limitation of 2 terabytes?
2 gigabytes of OneDrive file.
2
and
gigabytes.
I had some that were 3.5.
And it wouldn't take those.
It wouldn't sync them. Now, by the way, there's a new OneDrive, a new OneNote system. What they did is they had the version that was back on 2016, and then they went to the Windows OneNote system, and now they've changed that back to the desktop, and it looks like the old one. And anyway, that's what installed on my Windows 11 machine. And downloading the files from the cloud, from the OneDrive, which is where they were kept, is a long, long time for bigger files. And breaking them up is also a long drive to move them from one place to another.
And that's where the speed of your upload for your internet service makes a difference too. So
Correct.
if you've got fast download and don't have fast upload, it will take a long time for some of those files.
It did.
It might be that you just need to leave the machine on overnight or whatever.
I did that. I did that. It didn't matter too much.
Yeah. Which is not a bad idea anyways on break-in on a new machine, is let it run for, several days, let it get up to thermal capacity and stuff, and let it just do its thing. And it should download all the updates and automatically reboot and all that other rigmarole stuff.
Well, whenever you've got a new machine, the first thing you got to do is updates anyway, because otherwise, it's whatever is built in isn't current.
One other thing that 11 tries to impress upon you with, unlike prior versions of Windows 11, Microsoft wants left on all the time because they will do updates scattered all over time versus just at night like they used to on older versions. And so they really want you and expect you to leave the machine running at all times And whenever they get around to your particular machine, oh, here's your updates, and goes in and reboots the computer if necessary, or gives you a message you need to reboot.
I search for updates every time I turn the machine on for everything, so that's not an issue for me.
Yeah, but you're not actually turning the machine off because you don't understand a feature of Windows 10 or 11. They don't turn off because in reality, they are doing what's called a fast boot. And that feature means that your machine doesn't truly shut down unless you hold down the shift key when you select restart or shutdown. Then it will go all the way down.
I put mine in sleep mode,
Yeah. In fact,
but I'm not using it like at night, and when I get through, I put it on sleep mode and leave it on sleep mode
a
until
lot of there's even an article in the list
yeah, I saw
here
that, yeah.
that recommends instead of shutting off the computer, you just put it in sleep or hibernate mode, whichever you desire.
And it'll boot
just
up, it'll turn on faster too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But even
Yeah.
if you just let the computer sit there, you get up from it, say go to bed, it'll go to sleep all by itself, powering down most of the power consumption, but it's still really on and can take in updates at any time that Microsoft sends them to your computer.
Okay. Now here's the edge case, like me. If on one machine you have either two different Windows installations, or you have Windows and say Linux. Linux does not work nicely if the machine hasn't been completely shut down. So I have had to disable fast startup. And the sleep hibernation isn't going to work for me. I'm just saying there are a few of us for whom you really do have to shut down and then start up again in order to do something else.
Yes, but in the case of what Bob is saying, by turning off fast boot in power management, he is able to actually do a true restart and a true shutdown like we used to be able to do before they created the fast boot feature.
Yeah. And then there are all these interesting things about the new TPM security and secure boot, which also affects if you ever need to use external media to fix a computer that isn't booting. And that enters into some very interesting stuff, which will differ from PC to PC because BIOS is different.
Pete?
Okay, so I've got a scenario here where I'm helping the community center in the development I'm in. There's gonna be 5 shared computers, maybe up to 10. They're all gonna be the exact same box. Hardware, everything. They're gonna come in fresh with a rebuild, so I'm not rebuilding anything from a Windows disk. I've got 81 apartments. Each apartment will have a single user for that apartment. So there's going to be 82 accounts on the box. Okay, so now what I was planning on doing, since they're all the same hardware, was once I get the first one done totally, is do an image and burn that image on the other boxes.
That's correct.
And then change the license key on the other boxes to match.
Unless you're talking a very old machine, you don't even think about it because your image is relying upon a chip on the motherboard for the Windows license key.
So because it had a Windows system in there, when I re-imaged the hard drive to the image from the other machine,
Windows, when you first boot it up on the other machine, will look at that chip, say, this is my license number. That's it.
Yeah,
Done.
and it'll also want to initially make a little contact, probably with a Microsoft account, to pull down the digital entitlement.
Right.
Question, Pete. Is there a reason that you need to set up this quote unquote 80 logins?
because you've got 81 families.
Okay,
So you want to keep the data separate, and if the family moves out, I want to clean out that account so none of their data is on the machine when they move out.
why couldn't you just make it something similar to what a library does so that when a person comes in, they're more or less a guest and their session is temporary, and when they leave, everything is wiped?
Because
And if they want to save anything, they need to save it locally.
that can be done with a flash drive, yes, but
Yeah.
most people don't even know what a flash drive is and don't have them.
Well,
This is a low income development too.
right. I'm just saying, I don't know if you've been to a public library, but when you go and use I'm talking to Pete, I don't know if he's been to one. When you go to a public library and you turn on or use any of their PCs, you're logging in with a guest credential. And then when you leave, it shuts down, it reloads itself to a blank Windows OS screen so that there's no chance of any virus contamination across anybody else's system.
But they're all connecting to a network server.
You're talking about at a library.
Yes.
Well,
I don't
okay.
have that.
All right. Well, you could
And these computers are going to be on carts and they're going to get rolled into a storage area.
listen. The fundamentals of it, I don't know. I'm just saying, would that scenario be better to set up instead of having 5 machines or whatever number of machines responsible for 80 people and 80 different logins, and someone's got to manage that? Why not just have it session independent?
There's a lot of universities that used to, I don't know how many still do, the same concept as the libraries. And basically speaking, you're using a temporary image that gets blown away when you're all done and sign off, and you get a whole new image put on that machine for the next user. And there's no cross contamination, but anything you personally do on the computer that you want to keep, you have to remember to bring a storage media like a flash drive with you to plug in, save that information, and then that way, when you leave, of course, you take your drive with you, and the machine is within minutes ready for the next user to use that machine with complete confidence that the machine is not infected, and that they can do whatever they want to within the regulations set up by the university or library,
Right.
and
Yeah, but
go from
those
there.
infrastructures all push that image down from a server.
Right, that is
Right.
correct.
I don't have that capability.
Okay, you don't.
I don't have that capability of using a server to push down on the individual machines. The budget is not there.
Okay, so Pete, you will have made a standard image, a base image, which will
Right.
be on some media, some kind of media.
Yes.
And you can plug that media, and presumably the media is bootable. You can plug that into any PC at any time and put it right back where it started.
Right.
And just let people know that this could be done at any time, whenever it is deemed necessary, due to a suspicion that they're infected or instabilities, or when
running
we.
the software package in there or something.
Yeah, when you need to upgrade them, And they must understand that if they want to store anything permanently, they should learn how to use external media.
Thumb drive, right.
Correct. And you can
Or-
set up a system, if you will, for where people would either buy or rent those USB sticks for storage or something. They get them themselves. They're responsible. But this way, you don't have to worry about their data getting lost on the system. You try to remove yourself from that responsibility.
I'm not worried about their data.
Well, they are.
Their settings and the stuff that they individually use because there's kids involved for school while the machine is up is important. Now they're all going to be under straight lowest rung user rights. No admins, no super users, anything like that. There's going to be like 3 super users on the whole system. And I'm going to be one of them, I take.
Somebody needs to lock that down with Fort Knox keys that nobody can figure out how to get to the root system, because you're going to get some kids in there. And I say kids, they're going to be smart and they're going to figure their way around it and they're going to figure out how to get in there and create mayhem. They just do. There's going to be one somewhere.
Easiest way to solve that is pull the plug and re-image the machine.
Well, yeah, but there again, you're going to be wiping out all those people's data that they saved.
If they don't have any
I mean, their data is as simple as not necessarily a file. It could be their sessions, their bookmarks, their their favorite places that they went to.
Let's say you go to Chrome or you go to IE. There's nothing saying that they cannot sign in to that Chrome account or that IE account with their own email account. We're just not going to provide an email for the machine.
Yeah, but what happens is people want to use a browser and they want to put a bookmark up in the browser. And they get all these stacks and stacks of bookmarks. And most people don't know how to back up bookmarks from a browser.
But if they sign in to the browser with their own personal email, the browser will store it under their username on the browser.
Yes. And then what happens when you need to wipe and reimage? What happens to that browser?
I've noticed in my Chrome Google account that my bookmarks stay with the account even if I log in with that account on a different machine 10 miles away.
So you sync your bookmarks in the browser?
Yes.
Most people do, but some of us don't. Yeah, most people do. You're right. And you could warn people they should.
Yes.
And I hate to throw this out, but this is where OneDrive comes in as well.
Right.
They sign in with their account that saves it all to their OneDrive. When they shut down and you re-image, if they go to another machine and sign into their account, those files are there.
They're likely to be on five different machines in 2 weeks.
Right.
So if they want to create a OneDrive, a Microsoft account on their own, and create a OneDrive attached to that, I don't care. I'm not going to create a OneDrive for 71 users and create emails in Microsoft accounts.
Yeah, and they can also get a Google if they sign in with their Google account and have a Google Drive.
Yeah,
so it can do the same thing. Then if they got a Chromebook, they can sign into the same account.
Right. And a lot of the kids do have Chromebooks from school.
Hey, Pete.
Yes.
I just put in a link in the chat to an article that somebody wrote on how to create a public access PC. Now, this may not be what I was describing, but it may work similarly. So it's just a thread. Read up on it, see if this fits, if it could work. But it's talking about making a basically public access account in Windows.
This is called a kiosk, and the feature is built into Windows. But I don't think hardly anybody uses it unless they're running like a small business and they have one set up so people can come into the business and do searches.
Right, but explore this avenue of thinking before you try going down the route that you're looking to do, because I see what you're trying to do is to be a management headache for somebody, because somebody's got to maintain all those user accesses, and they've got to delete them when somebody moves out, create new ones when somebody comes in. You got a kid visiting for a couple of days, you got to give them access. It just creates a lot of work on Pete's part. Or somebody's part.
And not only that, but with that many users using so few machines, people are horrible at creating secure passwords. Therefore,
are assigning them a password.
Oh, you're going to assign them. All right.
We're assigning a 10-digit password that's created by a random password generator.
Okay. I'd make it longer than 10 if I were you.
But doesn't matter.
That way they leave. We change the password on the account. We scrub documents. We scrub a couple of things on that account. We reflash the rest of them with that, and it's done.
So, okay, that was a great discussion there.
I've done two now.
And Pete, boy, you got your work cut out for you, but I think I would explore a different avenue before this is implemented, to try to take the workload and the responsibility off of everybody that's involved. And try to make it so that the concern I would have is that you're going to have somebody in there who's going to get a virus, and because they're going to go and play a game somewhere or go to a site that they shouldn't be going to, they're going to get a virus, and it's going to propagate across the whole platter, per se. And it's going to infect everybody. And that's just what I see as a possibility that could happen. But that's just me.
That's just you, I know.
It's just a worst case scenario. All right, we're running out of time. We got a time for one more topic that was on here? Is anyone got one that they really liked us to discuss? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have shut down this topic.
Or you can talk about the 3 ways to reset a Windows admin password.
2 ways to reset a Windows admin. Where is that one?
About 5 or 6 down from the top.
Okay, now I got to go up to the top. 1, 2, 3. Okay, how to reset. You lost your Windows 10 password. Okay, so that's what we need right there. All right, where are we at? And I know I always lose mine, unless I wrote it down someplace. Weak passwords. We don't want weak passwords. We want strong ones, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, if you got a strong password, how's your wife going to break into the machine?
You give her a back door.
All Watch your words.
That's
Okay.
the way out, right?
Yes. That's the way out. Okay. Using a count has pros and cons. So, how are we supposed to do this? How to reset? Okay. They give you the scenarios. Okay. So I guess you could go to Microsoft to recover your account, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to use your Microsoft account if you need to reset it, correct? Resetting the password on a local account, you need to be enabled hidden administrative account. Well, so do you need to have this turned on before? How to enable an administrative account before?
There is a way to enable the hidden administrator account even if you can't log into your primary administrator account.
Yeah. I
It
see
can
that.
be done during login.
Okay, so they do state here that this feature is disabled and you need to enable it if you plan to ever use this feature.
Yes, but it's comes default no password on the account, and that means if you leave it that way with no password, anybody who knows it exists and is enabled on that system, they have total access rights to the everything on that system.
Okay, so the other thing they tell you here is make sure that you've created or have created a bootable Windows 10 flash drive so that you could boot from that.
I would use the recovery drive that's built into Windows. I've got one from 10. I haven't made one for 11 yet. But sometimes that has some handy tools to help you deal with not only lockout situations, but also when your system gets sick. Sometimes without having to re-image things or do an in-place install, the recovery drive may have the tools you need to correct that system.
Okay. I think then they're going into some extreme things that you might need to do on your C drive to rename a specific executable to another name or a backup file. And
One thing I do
yes,
is I have two administrative accounts. So if I forget the password on one, I can go in the other and reset the password.
okay.
Now what happens when you forget the passwords on both of them?
Then I'm screwed.
Then you're screwed.
One of them has to be without a password, and it has to be hidden.
Right. So they do tell you here if you rename these two files and then you reboot the machine, looks like you should be able to, let's see, your reboot, blah, blah, blah. I think that will get you to a login without a password. A normal sign will get you back to the normal sign-in screen. Then you could reset the password there. Looks like there's a lot of steps here that you need to know. They don't make this easy.
They shouldn't.
You got to understand the real horsepower in all the OSs, whether it's Windows, Mac, or Linux, or BSD. Bottom line, the command line, which is considered not easy by most users, is where the real high power of that computer. That's why Linux is a little hard to learn because of the fact that a lot of Linux people use the command line for the horsepower, and sometimes it's faster than the graphical user interfaces, which Windows and Mac users would prefer.
So I would recommend that somebody print this out this article and have it handy if you think you may be in this scenario and run through these steps. Because as you can see, there's quite a few steps here involved. But it shows here that you should be able to rename and change your account to be able to create a new one.
You also want to, with Microsoft, make sure that you've set up a phone number and an email address not associated with this account, that they can contact you and send you a reset information, either through, I believe they do it with a phone number or an email or both, or either, I should say.
By the way, Sanford, before I forget, one other thing that I thought of since Huey showed up tonight, and I was going to try and remember to mention it to you anyhow. If you use the Microsoft browser, you have Immersive Reader capability.
I was going to mention that too, so I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah, Huey uses it heavily on his Zoom meetings, and that way it eliminates all the ads, leaves just the text and graphics of that article, and you can magnify it very easily to enlarge the print so that it's quite readable for anybody. Right now, I have to get closer to the screen to be able to read what that article says.
Yeah, Sanford, let me explain what to do, and we can do it before you leave that window.
Okay.
Highlight the URL and copy it.
Let me get back here.
You don't have to show us, just,
Okay.
You can, that's fine.
Highlight
the URL, do a Control-C, and then go ahead and open your Microsoft Edge. Open Edge.
Edge has been updated. All right,
Okay,
I gotta close the sharing just for a moment because I can't see the I can't see all the browser, the bar in the browser. Okay, now go ahead. Next.
Open up Edge.
Yes, got it.
Paste in the address into the URL, the URL into the address bar.
I got it.
And hit enter.
All right. Okay, now
and then share your screen, and I'll show you what to click.
I got it coming up right here. Okay.
All right, and to the right of that, the second, not that one, the next one over, it says Immersive Reader. Click that. And you can see at the top, it says, let's see, text preferences. Click that. Now, and you can change the size.
I'm blowing it up. People can see this.
Yep.
Okay.
Even if they're blind, they can see it.
Wow, this is one made for Bert.
And then now scroll. All of the ads are gone. All the menus are gone.
Look at that. Hey, this is pretty slick. I like this.
I meant to mention that to you a month or two ago, and I kept forgetting about it.
Yeah, it works out pretty good for my SIG every month. I do what you're doing is.
What do you call this feature?
This is Immersive
Reader
in Windows Edge.
I've got a video, but I don't know that I posted it yet. Let me look and see.
Also, with Windows Edge, you can also have it read the article to you.
Yeah, it says read aloud.
It says read aloud, text preferences, grammar tools.
Yep. There's lots of little features in it.
Jerry had an app that he talked about once that did this stuff. What was that app?
I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
I think there's something called Read Aloud.
No, I wasn't talking about reading. An app that gets rid of all the garbage and stuff for printing.
Oh, well, we have it in here.
Yeah, I know, but the other one was useful in Firefox and all those others,
Okay,
rather than having to go through Edge, which I don't use a lot.
I've been using Edge more and more, and generally speaking, it's got some nice things. It's got some things I don't like, but I know how to go in and modify the damn thing so I can get rid of what I don't like.
I just put a link in to my YouTube video on the Immersive Reader.
Bert?
Yeah, of course, you can right click and select text in Edge and there is a choice for read aloud. But what they did in OneNote was they took it away in the newer versions. Back in 2016, it had the ability to read aloud, but they took it away. In the new version that they just put up, which is like the old version with the tabs across the top, you can go ahead, like we did in a quick access toolbar, and you could go down and find in the all apps part, speak, and put speak on the toolbar, and you could then use that to select text and read anywhere you were. But beyond that, now in this new version of OneNote, it takes speak and puts it as another group on the regular menu across the top instead of on a separate quick access toolbar. But it works just fine, and now I can have it read back to me all the time like I really wanted. That was one thing that I certainly missed. So I had to read things in OneDrive because it wouldn't do it in OneNote, but now it does.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Huey. And we all got that YouTube video. We can watch more of that at our leisure.
How do I save the chat? I forgot.
You just click on chat. When the box comes up down at the bottom where you would enter a new information or a message, off to the right side is three little horizontal dots.
To the left side, there's three little dots down there.
I got it.
Yeah, and it'll say the top thing says save chat.
Yeah.
Right, and it'll save it to your document folder in a folder called Zoom, and then in the Zoom folder it'll be by date of the one you saved.
Right.
And if you don't change the date sequence, that usually the newest is at the top rather than at the bottom. But if you click the date column, it'll reverse it.
Okay, I'm going to end the meeting unless anyone has any last comments or questions. If not, I say I'm going to stop the recording.
Recording stopped.